This is ChestertonRadio.com.
And here's the cinnamon bell.
Now let's see what's happening to our adventurous Judy and Jimmy and the Cinnamon Bear. Last time we saw them, they had just barely escaped being thrown into the immense inkwell by the Inkaboos. Crazy Quilt Dragon arrived in the nick of time with scissor soldiers who held off the enemy long enough for them to rush down to the beach, jump on Crazy Quilt's back, and plunge into the root beer ocean. You see, the Inkaboos didn't dare follow them because they were made of blotting paper and would have been soaked to pieces. You'll remember, too, that they discovered their precious silver star floating on the water. And just as Jimmy was about to pick it up, a blue and white polka dot whale rose out of the ocean and
swallowed it just like that. Oh, why did that old whale have to go and eat our silver star? I'm getting worrieder and worrieder that we won't get it back in time to put it on our Christmas tree.
We'll do our especially best, Judy. All we can do for now is to wait until he comes up again.
Say, Crazy Quilt.
Yes, Jimmy?
Do you know this whale who swallowed our silver star?
Slightly. He invited me out for a clam chowder dinner once. His name is Wesley, and he always has the tummy ache.
How long do you think it'll be before he comes to the top again?
Oh, can't ever tell. What I'm worried about is that he might come up someplace else where we won't see him.
Oh, dear. Whatever will we do?
We'll just have to be patient and wait and hope he shows up somewhere around here.
Speaking of waiting, if we have to wait much longer, I'm vastly afraid you folks won't have any place to wait.
Well, what do you mean, Crazy Quilt?
Well, it's this way. I'm not really a watertight dragon, and in order to make any sort of extended sea cruise, I have to go on a special diet. It takes about 4 barrels of corks to put me in the pink.
And you haven't eaten any corks lately?
Not for some time, and if I stay in this root beer ocean very much longer, I'll get waterlogged, or maybe I should say root beer logged, and sink.
Oh, my stuffings. Can't we go someplace where you can dry out?
How about that big rock over there?
An excellent thought, Jimmy. I'll just head in that direction. Be there.
Ahoy! Avast there, belay!
What's the matter, Cinnamon Bear?
There's the whale. He's coming up. Oh, look at him. He's coming up.
Hello there, Wesley.
Hello, Crazy Quilt.
How are you, you old blue and white blubberer?
Oh, there you go. Insulting me just because you know I'm a sick whale. Oh, woe is me.
Oh, I was only fooling. What's bothering you now?
Hurry up and tell him about our star.
In a minute, Judy. I said, what's bothering you now, Wesley?
It's a pain I can't quite locate. Oh, dear. It just jumps all around.
I've a pretty good idea what it might be, my drooping denizen of the deep.
Oh, you have? Well, tell me like a good dragon.
Remember about an hour ago you swallowed something floating around here?
Oh, yes, of course. Just a tea-time snack, nothing heavy.
Maybe so, but what you swallowed was a silver star that belongs to my young friends up here, Judy and Jimmy, and the fellow sitting behind them is Paddy O'Cinnamon.
Hello, folks. Sorry to meet you when I'm feeling so miserable.
No wonder you don't feel good after eating our silver star.
Oh, what a pity. I don't know why I did it, really. I've no appetite at all, just nibble here and there. No, whoa, ho, ho.
You're the funniest whale I ever heard of. Never saw anything like you.
Of course you haven't. Oh.
You've never seen a wailing whale until you've looked at me, oh. I've wailed in 11 seas, from Tokyo to Rio. I never smile, I never laugh, I never grin or snicker. It takes too long to smile a smile, a frown is so much quicker. Waily, waily, groan and grumble, dearie, dreary, dear. Roar and rumble, moon and mumble, get seasick. Waily, waily, groan and grumble, dearie, dreary, dear. Roar and rumble, moan and mumble, woe is me. Oh, woe is me.
Very nice, Mr. Whale. Very nice.
Very nice.
Do you like my voice? I've had considerable comment on it. You ought to hear me cut loose with rocked in the cradle of the deep.
You're all right, Wesley, if I may presume to call you that.
Well, that's quite all right. You know what? I think I'd sound much better if I didn't feel so bad.
I should think you would feel bad. That silver star you ate was made of glass.
Yes. What? Glass? Oh, dearie me. Oh, double dearie me. I'm certainly the most unfortunate whale that ever flipped a flipper.
You didn't chew it up, did you?
No, I didn't, but that doesn't help matters any. Glass. Oh, dear. Somebody get a doctor quick. I'm going. I know I'm going.
Oh, of course you're not, Wesley. Just take a good deep breath and see what you can do about returning the star to its rightful owners.
Oh, I'm so indisposed. I think I'm going to faint. What? No smelling salts? Oh, whoa.
Oh, dear. There he goes. And the silver star inside him. What'll we do now?
Wait until he comes up again. Maybe he'll feel better then.
Not Wesley. He enjoys poor health.
Oh, what do you say we climb up on that rock like we planned to do? Then Crazy Quilt can get dried out, and we can watch for Wesley to come up to the top again.
Fine. Hold on tight, everybody. Up we go.
Whee!
Here we are. Now, if you'll all get off, I'll take myself a bit of a sunbath.
Sure enough.
Yeah, come on, Judy. I'll help you down.
Thanks, Cinnamon Bear.
Pardon me, my friends. I shall retire to a remote corner and stretch me out in the sun. See you later.
Yeah, take a good rest, Crazy Quilt.
Oh, hello.
Hello yourself.
It's a sill, Judy.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to our city.
It isn't a city. It's just a walk.
I know. Just a figure of speech. Welcome anyhow. I'm Samuel, the trained seal.
Like the ones in the circus?
Have you seen them? Amateurs, my boy. Just amateurs. You haven't seen a thing until you've seen me perform.
Well, if you're so good, let's see you.
Not now, Jimmy. Get him to dive down and wake up the wailing whale.
Okay, here's trick number 1.
Too late now, Judy. That pesky seal set on showing himself off.
Oh, it's a thriller, folks. I toss this ball high into the air, turn a somersault, blow a whistle, and catch it on my nose.
What, the whistle?
No, the ball. Now get a load of this, folks. Here goes.
Whee! Look at that, Jimmy.
Excuse me, my friend, but you do the whole show, don't you? Applause and all.
Oh, yes. Do that with my flippers. Just to get my timing right, you know. Must get used to public acclaim.
I'd say it was pretty good, all right.
Oh, pretty good. Nothing. You know, you've never seen a better juggling, balance, and musical act.
Can you dive?
Can a seal dive? I'm Olympic material, I am. Can I dive?
Would you dive down and wake up the wailing whale then? He's got something that belongs to us, and we want him to hurry and give it back.
I thought I saw old Wesley hereabouts a while back. Sure, I'll dive down and wake him up. Oh, I'll give him a nip that will make him start, all right. Watch this form. Now, is this grace? Is this diving? Whoa! Back in a minute, folks.
I hope he can wake up the whale. Maybe you won't be able to find him.
Oh, sure he will.
There's Wesley coming up now.
And there's the seal. Say, that was fast work.
Oh, whoa.
Here he is, folks. Told you I'd wake him up.
Oh, what goes on here?
A seal named Samuel just dived down and woke up the wailing whale for us, Crazy Quilt.
Oh, that's very commendable of Samuel.
Oh, don't mention it, my good fellow. Don't mention it.
Oh, woe is me. Woe is me.
What's the matter, Mr. Whale?
Now, that silver star thing of yours is making me most miserable. Here I'm supposed to watch my tummy, and something like this has to happen. Oh, whoa, this is killing me.
Oh, what are you laughing at, Wesley? First time in my life I ever heard you laugh.
Can't help it. The star's tickling my insides. Caught my throat. Caught my
throat. Make him sneeze. He'd cough right up, I bet. Somebody tickle him.
Can't any of us reach him. Crazy Quilt, here, you're the longest. You try.
Sure. Just a minute. I'll use my extra fancy tail. There. Tickle, 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 tickle.
Oh, there it goes.
I've got it.
The seal caught it on his nose.
Watch me juggle this.
Come on, Samuel. Hand over the silver star.
Watch this finesse. Poetry in motion. That's what it is. Zoe!
Oh, look, Cinnamon Bear. Here comes Penelope the Pelican flying low. Haven't seen her around here for months.
Sure enough, it's that pesky pelican.
Please give us our star, Samuel. You might drop it and break it in a million pieces.
Not a chance. I never miss. Just let me give it one more throw and I'll turn it over to you.
Only one more, then. Do you promise?
I promise. This one will be the highest throw ever made by any seal in the world. Stand back, everyone. Hey, you, Penelope the Pelican. Stop flying around over my head so I can make this record throw.
Please hurry, Samuel.
You should never rush an artist, but here goes. Ta-da! That's for the band, you know. And up goes the star, higher and higher and higher.
Look, Judy, look!
Oh, that pelican caught our silver star.
Snatched it right in midair.
Now, isn't that a nice how do you do?
And a nice how do you do it certainly is. Just imagine it. They get their silver star back from the wailing whale only to have it snatched away by Penelope the Pelican. It's beginning to look very much like Judy and Jimmy and the Cinnamon Bear will have to go through a lot more trouble to get it back in time to put on top of their Christmas tree. Or maybe they'll have better luck next time. So let's be sure and listen.
That best wish is peace on earth. Much of Reynolds' expanding aluminum production now goes to the defense of the nation, the defense of our free world. But the ultimate aim is peace always. And the great destiny of light, strong, rust-proof Reynolds aluminum lies in peaceful progress. The Reynolds Metals Company looks forward to the day when all aluminum production can be turned to constructive uses. In a future when the inspired hope of Christmas shall be realized, and on earth, peace, goodwill toward men.
You are listening to Chesterton Radio at chestertonradio.com.
The makers of Campbell Soups present the Campbell Playhouse. Orson Welles, producer.
Good evening. This is Orson Welles. There are clearly a number of ways in which a Christmas carol could be introduced. Myself, I am most struck by the happy fortune that enables us on this Christmas Eve to present Mr. Lionel Barrymore, the best-loved actor of our time, in the world's best-loved Christmas story, A Christmas Carol. It is the American way, as we know, to establish traditions quickly where popular instinct and sentiment pronounce them sound. And so it is that today, actually only the 5th anniversary of Mr. Lionel Barrymore's first playing of the part of Ebenezer Scrooge for the Campbell Playhouse, there is, I think, in all America nothing more eagerly awaited, more firmly rooted in the hearts of the radio family that numbers millions, but this yearly performance of A Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol, as Charles Dickens wrote it, has by common consent long been a classic. Mr. Lionel Barrymore's appearance in it is rapidly becoming one. And now, just before A Christmas Carol, Ernest Chappell has a special Christmas greeting from the makers of Campbell Soups. Mr. Chappell.
Thank you, Orson Welles. As the old year draws toward its close, we of Campbell's feel a bond of warmth and gratitude toward each of you, our friends. For you see, in homes everywhere throughout the land, Campbell's soups have been welcomed. Day by day and week by week, you have placed confidence in us and in the foods we make. And there isn't anything we appreciate more deeply than the fact that so many of you have elected to let Campbell's make your soups for you. And so when Christmas comes, we look about to find some way to show our appreciation, some Christmas present by which to say thank you. The gift we chose 5 Christmases ago and have chosen each year since has become a part of Christmas to many and many a family. It has become a Christmas custom to gather around the radio to hear and to enjoy a Christmas carol. And since it is Christmas Eve, we hope, too, that the younger members of the family are permitted to stay up and listen before dreams and visit of Santa. We get a great deal of pleasure planning and preparing this Christmas gift, and now it's ready. Off come the wrappings, off come the tags that say, please do not open till Christmas. Out comes the card, to you from Campbell's. And here is the gift itself.
Marley was dead to begin with. There's no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it. And Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Scrooge knew he was dead? Of course he did. Scrooge and Marley were partners for I don't know how many years. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, was Scrooge. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house, a grim, cheerless place if ever there was one. The door of Scrooge's counting house was open, that he might keep his eye upon his clerk, Bob Cratchit, who in a cold and dismal little cell beyond worked at his ledgers.
20, 21, 22. Merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. 23, 26, 29. Christmas Day. 11, 13, 17, 7, carry one.
Bob Cratchit.
Yes, Mr. Scrooge.
Stop that infernal caterwauling.
Yes, sir. 9, 15, 17, 21, carry one.
Impudence. Singing their idiotic Christmas carols at my very door. Go somewhere else and bellow your blasted carols, or I'll give you in charge. Yes, and I don't want any of your old customs. Take your fellow fools and go away. Christmas. Blah.
Right, sir. Merry Christmas anyway, sir.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. A Merry Christmas, Bob.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Fred.
God save you, Uncle.
Ah, humbug.
Christmas a humbug, Uncle? Now, I'm sure you don't mean that.
I mean just that. Exactly that. Merry Christmas. What right have you to be merry? What reason have you? You're poor enough.
Well, what right have you to be dismal about Christmas, Uncle? You're rich enough.
Ah.
Now, Uncle, don't be cross.
Well, what else can I be when I live in such a world of fools? What's Christmas to you but a time for paying bills without money? Merry Christmas. A time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer. If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips would be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. He should.
Uncle?
Nephew, keep your Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it, but you don't keep it, Uncle.
Well, let me leave it alone, then. What do you want? A Christmas gift, I've no doubt.
I came to wish you a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Merry Christmas. Much good may Christmas do you. Much good it ever has done you.
There are many things from which I derive good by which I have not profited materially, I dare say, Uncle. Christmas among the rest. But I have always thought of Christmas time as a good time. A kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good and will do me good. And I say, God bless it.
God bless Christmas. Hurrah! Let me hear another sound out of you there, Bob Cratchit, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. As to you, nephew, I wonder you don't go into Parliament. You talk enough nonsense.
Don't be angry, Uncle. I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why can't we be friends?
Good afternoon.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I've tried. A Merry Christmas to you, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
And a Happy New Year, too.
Ah, humbug.
And a Merry Christmas to you, Bob, and the missus, and to Tiny Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Fred. Same to you, sir. Good day, sir.
Good day, Bob.
Nonsense. Twaddle. Lummery. Talking of Christmas and not 2 sixpences to jingle together in his trousers pocket. You there, Bob Cratchit. Come here. What are you doing there?
I was only putting a bit more coal on the fire, Mr. Scrooge. Seeing it's so cold in there, sir.
Well, you put that coal back into the scuttle. A fire. A fire, indeed. I can tell you, if you use coal at that rate, you and I will soon be parting company, Bob Cratchit. You understand that? There's many a young fella like your situation, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. My fingers were getting a little stiff with the cold.
Then put on your mittens. There's someone at the door. See who it is.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This is the firm of Scrooge and Marley.
Yes, sir.
I should like to see the head of the firm, if I may.
Oh, very good, sir.
What is it?
A gentleman to see you, Mr. Scrooge.
Huh?
Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Marley's been dead these 7 years tonight. I'm Scrooge.
Well, now, Mr. Scrooge, at this season of the year, it's only fitting that we who are more fortunate should raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. You may not believe it, sir, but many thousands are now in want of common necessities, and hundreds of thousands are in want of the simplest comforts, sir.
Are there no prisoners?
There are plenty of prisons, sir.
And the workhouses? They're still in operation, I trust.
I wish I could say they are not, but they are, sir.
The treadmill and the poor law are in full vigor, then?
Both very busy, sir.
Oh, well, I'm very glad to hear that. I was afraid from what you said at first that something had occurred to stop them in their useful cause.
No, sir, all these institutions that you mention are flourishing. But it's nevertheless true that some additional provision for the poor and the destitute must be made. A few of us upon change are endeavoring to raise such a fund, you see. And what shall I put you down for?
Nothing.
Oh, I see. You wish to be anonymous, sir.
I wish to be let alone. I don't make merry myself at Christmas time, and I can't afford to keep a lot of idle people and make them merry. I help support the establishments that take care of the poor. They cost enough. Let those who are badly off go there.
Many can't go there, sir. And many would rather die.
Well, then, my advice to them is to do so and decrease the surplus population. Besides, I've only your word for it that all this is so.
The truth, Mr. Scrooge.
Well, so be it, then. It's not my business. It's enough for a man to understand his own business and not to interfere with other people's. Mine occupies me constantly. Good afternoon, sir.
I quite understand, Mr. Scrooge.
Cratchit, show this gentleman out.
Yes, sir. This way, please. Sir, I couldn't help overhearing. I should like to contribute threepence.
Cratchit!
Yes, sir. It isn't much, but it's all I can afford. But there are others in worse situation than I am.
You're a generous fellow. I wish I might say so of your employer.
Cratchit!
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yes, sir.
Merry Christmas. Close the door.
Yes, sir. I have closed it, sir. 24, 31, 1 and carry 3. A new scarlet tippet for Tiny Tim. And a comb for Martha. 33, 3 and carry 3. A hair ribbon for Belinda. 4, 7, 12, 15.
I suppose you want the entire day tomorrow.
If it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient, and it's not fair. But I suppose I can't do anything about it. If I was to stop half a crown of your wages, you'd think yourself very ill-used, I'll be bound.
Well, sir,
And yet you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work?
It's only once a year, sir.
Once a year. Once a year, indeed. A fine excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. But I suppose it's no good talking. You must have the whole day. Well, see that you're here all the earlier the next morning. You understand?
Oh, I will, sir. I will, sir, indeed. Good night, sir, and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
The office was closed in a twinkling, and Bob Cratchit, with the long ends of his white comforter dangling below his waist, for he boasted no greatcoat, went down a slide on Cornhill 20 times in honor of its being Christmas Eve, and then ran home to Camden Town as hard as he could pelt to play with his family at Blind Man's Buff. Scrooge, on the other hand, took his melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tavern. Having read all the newspapers and spent the rest of the evening with his banker's book, went to his dismal house. Darkness is cheap, and Scrooge likes it. The yard was so dark that even Scrooge, who knew its every stone, had to grope with his hands through the fog and the frost to find a door. Scrooge walked through his rooms to see that all was right. Sitting room, bedroom, lumber room, all as they should be. Nobody under the table, nobody under the sofa. Nobody under the bed, nobody in the closet. Closed the door. Locked himself in, double locked himself in. Then took off his cravat, put on his dressing gown and slippers and his nightcap, and sat down before the fire to take his gruel.
Marley! I could have sworn I saw... humbug. Marley's been dead these 7 years. Humbug. It's all humbug. What I need is a good night's... What's that? Someone's in the pine cellar. But the door's locked and double locked. Something's... It's coming. Something... It's coming closer. Outside my door. I won't believe it. It's humbug still.
Ebenezer Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh, no. What do you want with me?
I want much of you, Ebenezer.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
You're very particular for a ghost. All right. Who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Jacob Marley? But you're dead. You died 7 years ago.
7 years ago this very night.
You are a ghost, then?
What's wrong, Ebenezer? Don't you believe in me?
I do not.
You doubt your senses, Ebenezer?
Yes. Because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. You can't be a ghost. You may be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. There may be more gravy than grave about you, whatever you are. Humbug, I tell you. Humbug. Excuse me, Jacob. Excuse me. I do believe in you. You are a ghost, Jacob.
Thank you.
But what? Why do you walk the earth, Jacob? Why do you come to me?
It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men and travel far and wide to witness what it cannot share but might have shared on earth and turn to happiness.
Oh, tell me, Jacob, what is that chain you wear around you?
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link and yard by yard by my own free will. Is its pattern strange to you, Ebenezer?
Cash boxes, keys, padlocks, ledgers, purses.
Yours was as heavy and as long as this 7 years ago. And you have labored on it since, Ebenezer.
Oh, Jacob, speak comfort to me.
Comfort I have none to give. I cannot rest. I cannot stay. I cannot linger. Weary journeys lie before me.
You travel fast?
Yes, Ebenezer, on the wings of the wind.
7 years dead and traveling all the time?
7 years, Ebenezer. 7 years of remorse. Ebenezer, do you know that no space of regret can make amends for one life's opportunities misused?
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business? Mankind was my business. Charity, mercy, benevolence, they were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business.
Oh, Jacob, don't take on so. Jacob.
Listen to me, Ebenezer.
I listen to you, Jacob. Go on, Jacob, speak to me. But don't be so flowery.
Ebenezer, I am here to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. Do you hear that, Ebenezer?
Yes, Jacob. You always were a good friend to me, Jacob. Thank you, Jacob. But go on. Go on. Go on. How shall I escape? Oh, I'm afraid, Jacob.
You will be haunted by three spirits.
Is that the only chance and hope, Jacob?
It is your only chance and hope.
Well, then I think I'd rather not.
Without their visit, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow, when the bell tolls 1.
Couldn't I take them all at once and have it over, Jacob?
Ebenezer, look that for your own sake you remember what has passed between us. And remember, when the bell tolls 1, look for the first spirit.
Molly. Jacob, Molly.
Scrooge awoke. He was lying on his bed fully dressed. Suddenly the curtains of his bed were drawn aside. Scrooge found himself face to face with the unearthly visitor who drew them. As close to it as I am now to you. And I am standing in the spirit at your elbow. It was a strange figure, like a child. Yet not so like a child as like an old man.
Who's that?
Ebenezer Scrooge, I have come for you.
You are the spirit, sir, whose coming was foretold me?
I am that spirit.
What are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past.
But, what do you want of me? What brings you here to haunt me?
Your welfare, Ebenezer Scrooge. Rise and walk with me.
Oh, no, not out of the window. I can't do that. I'll fall down. I'm not a spirit. I'm mortal. I'll fall.
Bear but a touch of my hand upon your heart, and you shall be upheld in more than this. Come, follow me.
What's become of the city? And there's snow upon the ground. Where are we?
These are the shadows of the things that have been. You recognize this countryside?
Oh, I know every inch of it. Every rock, every tree.
And that bleak building over there?
That building. I was a boy there. Yes. I went to school in that horrible place.
Do you recollect that path?
I could walk it blindfold.
Strange you've forgotten so many years. Come, let us go closer. Look through the window into that cold, barren room. What do you see, Ebenezer Scrooge?
I see a boy.
A solitary child, neglected by his family, alone.
Yes, I see. I know that boy. Oh, I was so lonely. Poor boy.
Your lip is trembling, Scrooge. And what is that on your cheek?
It's nothing at all. I wish it's too late for that now.
What's the matter?
Nothing. The waits came to my door singing Christmas carols last night. There was a boy like that among them. A poor, thin, pale boy in a ragged coat. I'd like to have given him something, that's all.
Is that all? Come, Ebenezer Scrooge. Let us see another Christmas. Do you know this place, Ebenezer Scrooge?
Know it? Know it? Why, this is the counting house where I was apprenticed.
Listen.
Your partners.
Why, it's my old master. Bless his heart, old Fezziwig. My master, alive again, and hosting one of his Christmas parties. Listen to him.
Red Benito, and back to your places.
And there's Dick Wilkins. Poor Dick. Dear, yes. And look, there's Mrs. Fezziwig herself, looking younger than any of them. And the tables all loaded with roast and cider and mince pie and beer. Oh, what a jolly time we used to have.
That carefree young man with the light heart and the gay smile. Do you recognize him?
Yes. Merciful heaven. How happy I was then.
A small matter for old Fezziwig to make those silly folks so full of joy.
Small matter? Small indeed.
Isn't it? He has spent only a few pounds of your mortal money. Is that so much that he deserves praise?
Ah, it's not that. It's not that, Spirit. Old Fezziwig has the power to make us happy or unhappy, to make our service light or heavy. His power lies in words and looks, in things so tiny it's impossible to count them up. The happiness he gives is quite as great as if it cost her...
What is the matter?
Nothing. Nothing at all, Spirit.
Something, I think.
No. Only, it's just that I should like to be able to say a word or two to my clerk, Bob Cratchit, just now, that's all.
My time grows short, and we have yet another journey to make.
Where now?
Come. This is our last visit to the past, Ebenezer. Here, in this little room, with a fair young girl by your side. Do you recognize yourself, Ebenezer?
Oh, no. Spare me this.
You're older now, a man in the prime of life. Your face has begun to wear the signs of care and avarice. Your eyes are greedy, the eager, restless eyes of a miser.
No, please.
She knows it, too, that girl by your side. There are tears in her eyes.
It matters little, Ebenezer, to you. Very little. I know that.
Belle, have I changed towards you?
When we were engaged, we were both poor.
Was it better then? Better to be poor?
Better at least to be happy. You're changed. You were another man then.
I was a boy. Do you blame me because I've grown wiser? Have I ever tried to break our engagement?
In words, no. Never.
In what, then?
In a changed nature. In an altered spirit. In everything that made my love of any value in your sight. Shall I release you from your promise?
Belle.
Oh, at first it may cause you pain to lose me. A very brief pain. But soon it will be dim, like a half-remembered dream. An unprofitable dream. And you will be glad to be awake from such a dream. May you be happy in the life you have chosen, Ebenezer. For the love of him you love.
Spirit, it's enough. Show me no more. Take me home.
These were shadows of the things that have been. That they are what they are. Do not blame me.
No more.
One shadow more. Come. Do you see this man, Ebenezer Scrooge? This man might have been you, and the woman beside him your wife. And that girl might have been your daughter, Ebenezer Scrooge. She might have called you father. She might have been a springtime in the haggard winter of your life.
Please let me go. Show me no more.
Listen now, while they speak, Ebenezer.
Well, I saw an old friend of yours today.
Who was it?
Yes.
How can I? It's... Oh, I know. Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge it was. I passed his office window. It wasn't shuttered, and there was a candle inside, so I couldn't help seeing him. His partner, Marley, lies at the point of death, I hear. And there Scrooge sat all alone. Quite alone in the world, I do believe.
Spirit, I can bear no more. Leave me. Hold me no more. Take me back. Take me back.
Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen, when the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even, brightly shone the moon that night.
You are listening to the Campbell Playhouse, bringing you tonight the 5th annual presentation of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, produced by Orson Welles and starring Lionel Barrymore as Scrooge. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
When the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even, brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel, when a poor man came in sight, gathering winter dew.
And now, back to the Campbell Playhouse and the 5th annual presentation of A Christmas Carol. A Christmas present from the makers of Campbell's Soups.
On the stroke of one, Scrooge awakened suddenly and sat him bolt upright in his own bed. He remembered the words of Marley's ghost and wondered from which direction the second specter would appear. At that moment, nothing between a baby and a rhinoceros would have astonished him very much. Now being prepared for almost anything, he was not by any means prepared for nothing. And consequently, when no shape appeared, he was taken with a violent fit of trembling. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, quarter of an hour went by, yet nothing came. Then, as he sat in his bed, he became aware gradually of a great blaze of ruddy light that seemed to shine upon him from the adjoining room. He got up softly and shuffled in his slippers to the door. It was his own sitting room, there was no doubt about that. But it had undergone a surprising transformation. The walls and ceiling were so hung with living green that it looked a perfect grove. And there sat a jolly giant, glorious to see, who bore a glowing torch in shape not unlike Plenty's horn, and held it up high up to shed its light on Scrooge as he came peeping round the corner.
Come in, Ebenezer Scrooge, and know me better, man. I am the ghost of Christmas present. Spirit, take me where you will. Last time I went against my will and learned a lesson which is working now. If you have anything to teach me, let me profit by it. Touch my robe, Ebenezer Scrooge. Touch my robe. Where have you brought me, Spirit?
To an humble dwelling in an humble street.
It's miserable enough.
Yet there is happiness there.
Who are these people? Who's that woman? And the children?
These are the family of your clerk, Bob Cratchit. See his wife, dressed in a twice-turned gown, but brave in ribbons, laying the table for their Christmas dinner. And there, assisting her, is her daughter, Belinda. And the young man with a fork in the stuffing, that's Master Peter Cratchit. And the two little Cratchits. Listen, Scrooge, and watch.
Quiet, children, quiet. Now sit you down before the fire, Martha, and have a warm, Lord bless you.
Where's Father?
He's been to church with Tiny Tim. They'll be along directly.
How is Tiny Tim, Mother? Any better at all?
Sometimes I think he is. And sometimes I think, oh, dear God, if anything should happen to Tiny Tim.
Oh, Mother, you mustn't even think of such a thing.
Everybody.
Martha,
welcome, my dear.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Father, and Tim.
Merry Christmas, Martha.
Oh, Tim, you darling. Oh, Father, I'm so glad to be home.
And we're glad to have you, Martha.
And how did little Tim behave in church, Bob?
As good as gold and better.
I like church, Mother. Oh, they sang the nicest songs. I hope people saw me there.
Saw you there? And why, Tim?
Well, don't you see? Because I'm lame. And if they saw my crutch, it might be pleasant for them to remember on Christmas who it was made lame beggars walk and blind men see.
Bless you, my son.
Are we ready to eat, Mother?
Oh, come on, children. You're all ready. Come, take your places and wait your turn. There's plenty of stuffing and dressing and plum pudding for all of you. Martha, take care of Tiny Tim and see that he eats plenty.
Yes,
he must
Mother.
get strong and well. Now sit down, everyone.
Yes, come on, Tiny Tim.
And now, my dears.
I see a vacant seat in the fore chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved.
No, kind spirit. Say he'll be spared. Say he'll live.
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, Ebenezer, the child will die.
And praise thy name. Amen.
Amen.
And now, my dears, with such a dinner, a toast. A Merry Christmas to us all, and God bless us.
God bless us, everyone.
And now to Mr. Scrooge. I'll give you a toast to Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
Oh, the founder of the feast, indeed, who pays you all 15 shillings a week. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast on, and I hope he'd have good appetite for
My
it.
dear, the children, Christmas Day.
It should be Christmas Day, I'm sure, on which one drinks the health of such an odious, stingy, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge. You know he is, Bob. Nobody knows it better than you, poor fellow.
My dear Christmas Day.
I'll drink his health for your sake and the day's, not for his. Long life to him. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. He'll be very merry and very happy, I have no doubt.
And I say God bless him too, Mother, and everyone.
To Mr. Scrooge.
There was nothing of high mark in all this. They were not a handsome family, these Cratchits. They were not well dressed. Their shoes were far from being waterproof. Their clothes were scanty and at noon, very likely, the insides of a pawnbroker's. But they were happy, grateful, pleased with one another and contented with the time. And when at last they faded, Scrooge had his eye upon them, and especially on Tiny Tim until the last. Many calls Scrooge made that night with a ghost of Christmas present. Down among the miners they went who labor in the bowels of the earth, and out to sea among the sailors at their watch, dark, ghostly figures in their several stations. Much they saw and far they went, and many places they visited, but always with a happy end. The spirits stood beside sick beds, and they were cheerful. On foreign lands, and they were close at home. By poverty, and it was rich. In almshouse, hospital, and jail, where vain man in his little brief authority had not made fast the door and barred the spirit out, the spirit left his blessing. It was a long night. It was only a night. And it was strange, too, that while Scrooge remained unaltered in his outward form, the ghost grew older. Clearly older.
My life upon this globe is very brief, Ebenezer. It ends tonight.
Tonight?
Tonight at midnight. The hour has come.
Oh, not yet. Not yet. Now, there are still more things I wish to learn.
These you will learn from still another spirit. Still another spirit, Ebenezer.
Scrooge looked about him for the ghost that had vanished. But he found himself once more in his bed, in his dressing gown and his nightcap. He'd heard the clock strike. And then he remembered the prediction of old Jacob Marley, and lifting up his eyes, beheld the third spirit. A solemn phantom, shrouded in black, draped and hooded, coming towards him slowly and silently, like a mist along the ground.
I know you are the ghost of Christmas yet to come. You'll show me the shadows of things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Answer me, spirit, ghost of the future. Oh, I fear you more than any specter I've seen. Yet, as I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to live to be another man from what I was, lead on. Lead on. The night is waning fast. Time is precious. Spirit, why have you brought me here again? Here to Bob Cratchit's home? But it's not the same. Why is it so quiet? So very quiet here.
Mother, please. Oh, my son. My little son. Tiny Tim. I loved him so. Mother, dear, you mustn't. It's almost time for Father to be home. Don't let him see you crying.
Yes. Yes, Martha. He's late tonight. He walks slower than he used to. Yet I've known him to walk very fast indeed with Tiny Tim on his shoulder.
So have I, Mother.
But he was light to carry. And his father loved him so that it was no trouble. No trouble at all. Bob.
Good evening, my dear.
You're late, Bob.
I'm sorry, my dear. I went to the churchyard today. I wish you could have gone with me. It would have done your heart good to see how sweet and green a place it is. You'll see it often. I promised him. I promised Tiny Tim we'd walk there on Sunday.
Oh, Father, dear. It's God's will, Bob.
I'm trying to understand it, my dear. My son. My little son, Tiny Tim. And I loved him so.
Oh, that's cruel. Cruel. Spirit, can't you give me one ray of hope that I may change all that? That Tiny Tim may live? Churchyard, overrun by grass and weeds, choked with too much burying, desolate, a lonely, crumbling gravestone. Spirit, now before I draw nearer to that gravestone, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of things that will be, or are they the shadows of things that may be only? Will you not speak to me, Spirit? What is that grave to which you point? Now I see. There's writing on that stone. The name on the gravestone is Ebenezer Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge. Oh, Spirit. No. Spirit, hear me. I'm not the man I was. Why show me this? If I'm past all hope, tell me that I may change these dreadful shadows that have come, that you've shown me by an altered life. I'll honor Christmas in my heart, and I'll try and keep it all the year. I'll live in the past, the present, and the future. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Tell me, do, Spirit. Please tell me that I can sponge away the writing on that stone, Spirit. I beg of you, Spirit. Spirit. I promise on my knees. I promise. What's this? It's my bedpost. I'm home. In my own bed. In my own room. And the sun. The sunshine. It's clear. It's bright. No fog. Oh, what a beautiful day. Glorious. Glorious. Boy. Oh, boy. Yes, sir. What's today?
What's that, sir?
What day is it, my fine fella?
Today? Why, it's Christmas Day.
Christmas Day! Ha ha! I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. All in one night. Heaven be praised.
How's that, sir?
Listen, my lad. Do you know where the poultry is in the next street?
I should say I do.
An intelligent boy. A remarkable boy. Tell me, do you know if they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging in the window?
The one as big as me?
What a delightful boy. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Yes, my buck?
It's hanging there now, sir.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now go around, will you, and tell them to send it to Bob Cratchit and his family on Broad Street. And mind you, they're not to know who paid for it. Now, hurry along, my lad. And here's $0.50 for your trouble.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And a Merry Christmas.
And a Merry Christmas to you, too, my boy. Oh, I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather, as happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. A Merry Christmas. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world. Whoop! Whoop!
Next morning, Scrooge was early at his office. He went early for a reason. If he could only be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late. That was the thing he'd set his heart upon. And he did it. Yes, he did. The clock had struck 9. No Bob. 1:15. No Bob. Scrooge sat with his door wide open that he might see him come in. And at last he came. His hat was off before he opened the door. His comforter, too. He was on his stool in a jiffy, driving away with his pen, as if he were trying to overtake 9 o'clock.
8 and 17 and 15, carry the 1, 24, carry the 2, 31, carry the 4, 8 and 6 and 14, carry the 8.
Hello, you, Cratchit.
Yes, sir.
Step this way, Cratchit, if you please. Cratchit, what do you mean by coming in at this time of day?
Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. I'm behind my time.
You are? You are? Yes, I think you are.
Oh, it's only once a year, Mr. Scrooge. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir.
I'll tell you what, my friend. I'll not stand this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, Bob Cratchit, I'm about to raise your salary.
Mr. Scrooge, are you quite yourself, sir?
No. No, thank heaven I'm not quite myself. Merry Christmas, Bob. Merry Christmas, my good fella. A merrier Christmas than I've given you in many a year. I'll raise your salary, and we'll see what we can do for Tiny Tim and the rest of your family. We'll discuss it this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop. Bob, make up the fire. Make it up and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I.
Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more. To Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh, and little heeded them. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. He had no further intercourse with spirits, but lived upon the total abstinence principle ever afterwards, and it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be truly said of us, all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare his room.
You have just heard our annual presentation of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, starring Lionel Barrymore, brought to you by the makers of Campbell Soups. And now here is Orson Welles.
At this point in the program, ladies and gentlemen, it is my custom, as you know, to present to you with a few words of introduction our guest of the evening. With your consent, I shall dispense with this tonight to introduce tonight's guest to the Campbell Playhouse audience or to any other American audience is an extravagant and superfluous procedure. For if ever an actor has won for himself a lasting place in the hearts of his fellow countrymen through years of unsparing and inspiring service, that actor is Lionel Barrymore. Mr. Lionel Barrymore.
Thank you, Orson Welles. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 4th year I've had the pleasure of appearing in the Christmas Carol here on the Campbell Playhouse. And I assure you all it's a pleasure that never tires. As long as I can remember, this has been one of my favorite stories. When we were children, it was read to us regularly this time of year, as it is to millions of children right now. And like many of them, I'm sure, the three of us, Ethel, Jack, and I, with the aid of a sheet and some old ironware, made a play of it. As I remember, we had 3 Scrooges in that production.
Mr. Barrymore, who played Tiny Tim?
I think we had 3 Tiny Tims, too. But seriously, I can think of no part that I've enjoyed playing again and again as much as I have the part of that squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner, Ebenezer Scrooge. And I can think of no happier or more suitable choice for the makers of Campbell Soups to offer the people of America as their Christmas present each year than Charles Dickens' well-beloved story, Christmas Carol. Good night, Orson. Good night, everybody. And a Merry, Merry Christmas to you all.
Good night, Mr. Barrymore. Merry Christmas to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, for next Sunday night, we're happy to announce our version of a great and truly American story by a great American novelist, Come and Get It, by Edna Ferber. Against a background of the mighty forests of Miss Ferber's own Wisconsin, it tells a stirring tale of the men and women who live and die in the woods in order that lumber may come down the rivers every spring into the cities of the modern world. Like so many of Miss Ferber's epic romances of American life, it was made from a best-selling novel into a highly successful motion picture. Now we bring it to you on the air. The story of a man and his son and the girl they both loved, Lotta, played for us by one of the loveliest and most accomplished of Hollywood's younger dramatic actresses, Miss Frances D. And so until next week, until Come and Get It with Frances D., my sponsors, the makers of Campbell Soups, and all of us on the Campbell Playhouse remain, as always, obediently yours. But just a minute, Benny, ladies and gentlemen, it's the night before Christmas. And all through the Campbell Playhouse, not a creature is stirring that doesn't join Lionel Barrymore in wishing you a Merry, Merry Christmas. This goes for all of us, from my sponsor, from myself, from all of us, from Don McBain, who runs the machinery in the control room, to Miss Helgren, who types the Campbell Playhouse scripts. A Merry Christmas from Benny Herman and his band of Merry Melodians, Merry Christmas. You get the idea. From Max Sayers, choruses. From Harry Esman and his crew of sound effects technicians. Thank you. And from Orson Welles and his considerable aggregation of dramatic talent, which includes, among others, Mr. Frank Reddick, Miss Georgia Backus, Miss B. Benaderet, Mr. Ray Collins, Mr. Everett Sloan, Mr. George Coulouris, Edgar Barry, Erskine Sanford, Tommy Lane, William Allen, Betty Lou Walters, Eric Burtis, and, of course, myself and George Spelvin. A Merry Christmas. How about it, ladies and gentlemen? A Merry Christmas. And finally, as Tiny Tim says,
God bless us, everyone.
The makers of Campbell Soups join Orson Welles in inviting you to be with us in the Campbell Playhouse again next Sunday evening when we bring you Edna Ferber's Come and Get It with Miss Frances D. as our guest. Meanwhile, if you have enjoyed our 5th annual presentation of A Christmas Carol, won't you tell your grocer so this week when you order Campbell Soups? This is Ernest Chappell saying thank you and a Merry Christmas to you all. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
There are people in most countries who would like to live in the Republic of the United States or the Dominion of Canada where that good Olga coal is sold. The citizens of our free countries are the envy of many people elsewhere because of the personal freedom which we have enjoyed. Why, then, doesn't every country adopt a form of free government? One answer is that, unfortunately, there are people and parties in many nations who are so greedy for power that they will sacrifice the freedom of their fellow countrymen to obtain power for themselves. History, even recent history, is replete with such instances. That is why the citizens of the Republic of the United States and the Dominion of Canada must be careful to recognize at its very beginning any movement to steal or limit their freedom. That is not always easy. The man who would enslave a free people doesn't begin by saying, "Now I'm going to be your dictator." Instead, he probably will claim that he is a devoted supporter of personal freedom. But all the while, he will support policies that weaken and undermine personal freedom. Such a man will deny any totalitarian aims. But free citizens must not be deceived by such denials. Apparently, it is a cardinal principle of every sincere totalitarian that he is justified in lying, if such lies will advance his plans. In these times, no public figure and no party or organization supporting such a person can be accepted without careful consideration. Every public figure and organization must be carefully scrutinized. And if their real aims are to limit or to destroy our freedom as individuals, they must be opposed and defeated.
This is Chesterton Radio, the true, good, and beautiful at chestertonradio.com.
Don't turn that dial. This is the right station if you want to hear about Jonathan Thomas and his Christmas on the Moon. If now you're gathered close about and still as mice, which you are no doubt, I'll do my best to keep my promise and tell you some more about Jonathan Thomas. Now, just in case you don't remember, what happened in December, when he got himself in the dreadfulest trouble, which was worser than worse, and that goes double. And that's quite a fix for a boy only 6, but he couldn't help it because the Squibobliums had kidnapped Santa Claus. And much to his shame, they said he was to blame and took him to court without even asking his name. And then old King Cole, he put down his bowl and dismissed his fiddlers 3 and stared till Jonathan Thomas got scared and then said, "Oh, I see. By hook you're a crook, and I'll give you the book. I'll teach you to mind the laws. You may shiver and shake, but make no mistake. You're sentenced to find Santa Claus." So Jonathan Thomas, he started to go. But where or how, he didn't know. But he trudged down the road until pretty soon he chanced to meet the Man in the Moon. Now, the Man in the Moon was a man most kind who told Jonathan Thomas that if he didn't mind, he'd show him the way that very day. And to walk would be foolish, of course, when he had such a beautiful horse. So off they went as quick as that, without stopping to pack, not even a hat, or even refreshing themselves. And they sang a song as they rode along till they reached the land of the 3 little elves, who taught them some magic to make things quite tragic for the wicked old witch of Rumpelstitch. And then in a trice, and oh, ever so nice, they bid them a fond good day. And so, of course, they got back on their horse and started to ride away till they reached a river they couldn't cross. And then remembered to say the magic word which they had heard, "Hon squee non squee giggly vey." And then from all around there came a sound. And you know what happened then? Well, no doubt you'll soon find out, for here's where the story begins again.
Oh, Mr. Man in the Moon. Oh, I'm scared.
Scared? There's nothing to be frightened about, Jonathan Thomas. Oh, gee, look over there.
Oh, it's a fairy queen. Oh.
When the magic word you say, "Hon squee, non squee, giggly vey," and when its sound doth reach my ear, then most quickly do I appear.
Who are you, if you please?
I am Tenia, fairy queen, who rules the land of never mean. Friend to all, both large and small, it's the magic word they call.
Oh, thank you, Your Majesty. You're nicer than nice.
In your mind's a wish I see, to seek Santa Claus and set him free.
My gracious to goodness and Jiminy Crickets, that's right.
Uh-huh. That's most is right, if you please.
The road is dangerous and filled with fright, and leads through forests blacker than night, where snares and pitfalls beset your path, and goblins and evil things shriek and laugh.
Uh-oh. That's what I've been saying. It's nothing but terrible. That's what it is, horrible.
Many travelers have passed this way and have never been seen to this very day. So if it's strength and courage you lack, then here's fair warning. You'd better turn back.
Oh, no. We can't do that, if you please. We have to find Santa Claus.
That's right, or things will be bad.
And most horribly sad.
Your courage to follow this road so dire is courage which I do much admire. And to help you dispel the evil alarms, I'll give you the best of my magic charms.
Oh, thank you. Please.
Beyond this river of icy doom is the nightmare forest of deepest gloom. And to guard you well from its evil spell, I give you this golden acorn to keep as a charm against the magic sleep.
Oh, thank you.
Before you enter the forest center, stop at the pepper tree and count the count of 1, 2, 3, and say the rhyme of the magic line. Oh, pepper tree, please give to me some pepper, finely ground. Then fill the air of the dragon's lair to make him sneeze so sound. And while he sneezes, you must run before he eats you one by one. And now that I have had my say, I'll bid you all a fond good day and wish you luck upon your way. And if again you need me, say, Hansquee, Nansquee, Giggly Vey.
Hansquee, Nansquee, Giggly Vey. Well, now, that's real nice of you, Your Majesty. But how in the world are we going to cross this river?
Oh, yes, that's right. How in the world are we going to cross this river?
Yeah, that's what I wants to know.
The question you ask was an easy task. And if you'll turn and look, you'll see that the river which made you shiver has been changed to a tiny brook.
A tiny brook? Why, Jiminy Crickets, so it has.
And so again, my friendly three, I'll say goodbye and hope to see you three but very soon. You, Jonathan Thomas.
Goodbye.
And you, Gorgonzola. And you, the man in the moon.
Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
She was awfully nice, wasn't she?
Of course not. How could she be awfully nice? You can't be awful and nice all at the same time. It's against the law. Yup. Well, now, let's not stop to argue. We've got to hurry, Jonathan Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Well, come on. Up you go on Gorgonzola again. That's the way, leg over. There, here we go again.
Yep. Here we go again.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Here we go again.
Through the woods and over the hill. And when you move, you don't stand still. Oh, we're off to the land of Squee-Bobble. We'll run and we'll walk and we'll hobble. We'll never come back till we've taken a whack at the terrible land of Squee-Bobble.
We must hurry because we must find Santa Claus, or there'll be no Christmas this year. And things will be sad and most horribly bad, and people will cry. Oh, dear.
So we're off to the land of Squee-Bobble. We'll run and we'll walk and we'll hobble.
We'll never come back till we've taken a whack at the terrible land of Scribobble. We're off to the land of Scribobble. We'll run and we'll walk and we'll hobble. We'll never come back till we've taken a whack at the terrible land of Scribobble.
Oh, I like that the best of all the songs we sing. Oh, Mr. Man in the Moon. Is that the forest Her Majesty told us about?
My goodness to gracious, it sure is.
Oh, it looks scarier than anything.
It's the Forest of Nightmares, Jonathan Thomas. And it's a mighty good thing the Fairy Queen gave us the magic acorn, or we would go to sleep and never wake up forever and ever.
Oh, but she only gave us one acorn, and there's 3 of us.
3 of us? Jiminy crickets, that's right. Now, what in the world shall we do? Oh, Gorgonzola. Oh, we got to think this over.
Oh, whatever shall we do, if you please?
Well, I'll be jiggered if I can get this figured. Now, wait a minute. I've got an idea. Gorgonzola, you hold the acorn in your mouth, and Jonathan Thomas and I will ride on your back. Then the magic spell will travel through you and through us, too. And for goodness sake, we'll all stay awake.
That's a good idea, Mr. Man in the Moon.
Yeah. Here, Gorgonzola, you take the acorn and hold it in your mouth. Here. Yeah, but don't drop it or swallow it.
Oh, no, please don't.
Oh, it's humiliating. Nothing but embarrassing. But if I've got to do it, I've got to do it.
Now then, we're all ready.
I'm ready.
Then giddy up, Gorgonzola, 'cause here we go. And don't fall off, Jonathan Thomas, for if you do, you'll go sound asleep and never wake up again.
I'll hang on to you, Mr. Man in the Moon, and then I can't fall off.
My gracious, here we go. But maybe we'd better take it slow. For what is in the forest, none of us know.
I'm the witch of Rumpelstiltskin, and wicked things I know. The travelers 3 will quickly see my magic as they go. For I have dreamed and planned and schemed and brewed my witch's brew. I've planned a treat which they'll soon meet as they ride the forest through.
Oh, my goodness. I'd almost forgotten about the wicked old witch of Rumpelstiltskin, hadn't you? But now what will happen to Jonathan Thomas? I wish I knew, don't you? But then we'll find out in the next story of Jonathan Thomas and his Christmas on the Moon, and I surely hope that it'll be most soon, don't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, a long time ago it was written that man shall not live by bread alone. In this often quoted line from the Bible, bread is merely a symbol of all material values. And although we in America have the greatest material advantages in the world, they are not enough to bring us complete happiness. We must find that happiness in our spiritual as well as our material lives, in faith as well as bread. In America, one of our most precious heritages is the right to worship as we please, to know the spiritual pleasures of our churches and synagogues. The doors of your places of worship stand open to you, and your religious leaders will welcome you to their services. They also offer you personal and family guidance and the opportunity to become a firm part of your community. Through our churches and synagogues, that community and the families within it can find stability. And as an individual, you can find the peace that only religion can bring. Thus, the religious organizations of America invite you to find yourself through faith and come to church this week. Good night.
This is Chesterton Radio, your home for podcasts of works by G.K. Chesterton, plus drama, comedy, mystery, science fiction, big bands, and much more. the soundtrack to your Chesterton day at chestertonradio.com.